Hi, beautiful souls. I'm Joe. I'm here to inspire and share in hopes of you creating a better relationship with yourself and with your life. So, I've been gone for a while. Basically, life was way too chaotic. I remember, in my first video, that I told you guys to make a video 2 times a week, I guess, but of course, in practice, this turned out to be a little bit difficult. A lot of things have been happening since I've been back in Belgium from America, and I'm still kind of figuring out how to do my life here again because a lot of things changed, and some of it you will know because of this video, because I'm going to give some personal examples. But as you can see in the title, this is all about failure and how we can shift our mindset kind of to deal better with failure, or kind of see failure in a completely different way through which we can transform ourselves, because failure is kind of something that holds a lot of people back, a lot of the fear of failure. And the weird part is that our fear of failure actually sabotages us to fail. So I'm just going to start this video. Here are 5 things that you need to remember if you feel like a failure, and throughout it you will maybe know little things about my own failures, so yeah, you cannot feel as alone. So the first thing you gotta remember is something that I actually learned recently into doing the course online of becoming a transformational coach. And in there, the teacher said that there is no failure, there is only feedback. And when I started thinking about it, it's actually very real. And then I actually discovered it in a very real sense in my own life. So when I got back from America, the first thing that kind of happened is that before I could continue working again at the psychiatric facility that I used to work in, they wanted to talk to me first, and I was having a bit of a weird feeling about this, and my intuition was actually right. They actually just fired me, and I was kind of heartbroken by that because I really loved working at that place. And the reason why they fired me, it's more because of my attitude, the way I am, and that did not really fit their team and their kind of vision in that psychiatric facility. I was too spontaneous according to them, and I also struggled a little bit too much with ADHD according to them, which I understand. It can be really hard sometimes to concentrate on everything, but I know that I did my best. I just did what I thought was right, and I never really heard a lot of complaining except for a few things that I really worked on. So I was completely shocked by that. And it turns out that I'm actually very lucky in this situation because I work in kind of like the mental health area. They were also able to give me some very valuable feedback, and they just said that you have a very spontaneous nature. When you talk to clients, it feels like you're actually friends and everything. And yeah, I'm just very capable of making that first connection, because that's also the thing that I'm most focused on. I think that's the most important thing. And when talking to colleagues and everything, or people higher than me in function, I'm just kind of always myself. What you see is what you get. And I might not be the best at following meetings or anything, especially when they are talking about things that happened before I worked there. It's kind of really hard for me to get up to speed with that. So they were kind of more looking for somebody who was maybe a little more professional, I guess you could say, less in the feeling type of personality, but more in the kind of, I don't know, more, I don't really know, because I don't really have those qualities that they possess. So I have very different qualities, and so when they fired me, I was lucky that they were able to give me some feedback of hey, Joe, you have a very great talent of connecting with people, you're very spontaneous and everything. The setting of the environment of this hospital is probably just too serious for me, I cannot really shine there completely because my talents and my gifts lay in another foundation, which isn't bad. So that's the reason that they did not want to work with me. First, I was kind of seeing this as a failure because I was taking it very personally. And then of course the inner critic comes around and tries to talk you down and to say that, oh, see, even this job you cannot really do. But in the end, they gave me some really good feedback, and I know that there is places out there where I can work and actually be fine, and people will be happy with my talents and everything. And those places really do exist. I did take a year off of college because I have the privilege right now, which I'm very thankful for, to kind of figure out things on my own more and get my driver's license. And yeah, I'll be back in business probably next year in a in a better place. And if I never had that failure, quote unquote failure, I would have never gotten that feedback. So actually, in my mind, it's like, don't see failure as failure, see it as feedback. There's only feedback on where you can go and where you as a person and you with your qualities is better appreciated. And that's kind of with everything in life, you know. You could be doing a hobby or something, and you know, you keep running into problems or something, you keep failing and everything. Maybe it's something that's not for you, or maybe you just have to push through and see if there's any feedback in it. It's also completely fine to say like, hey, this is not something for me. But for example, me in pole dancing, it's like I had to fall down a lot. I had to get a lot of tricks wrong before I was actually able to go into an advanced level. So that failure was necessary, and that failure is actually just feedback, you know. If the trick didn't work with my leg like this, then maybe I should try it another way or observe more videos of other pole dancers. So in that way, failure doesn't exist. So let's move on to the second point, and it will all kind of, you know, be coherent. I will probably say a lot of the things more times, because it's just really, yeah, it's actually very simple if you think about it on a different mindset. But the second point is actually that great things just need failure. Just like I said with the pole dancing, do you think that we have, just look around you actually, go outside and look around you, look at the houses that are built, look at the cars that are driving, look at everything, take everything in. Don't you think that in the making of a car, for example, there hasn't been a lot of mistakes made or things that could have gone better? You know, humans, we have been inventing things for very many years, and you know, we're always in an evolution. But you know, if we didn't try, then we wouldn't have gone to this great place, you know. It's just that great things take time and also failure, because without that, you don't get the feedback on how to do it better next time. So just remember that those great things, they take time. Every professional pole dancer has made millions of mistakes. Just to give an example, in my world, every tattoo artist used to draw like shit. Like, I can draw a little bit, but I used to draw like shit when I was a child. Would you say that child is a failure because of not being able to draw like a masterpiece the first time? No, you would not, because you realize in that innocence of that child that he or she still needs to learn, you know? So maybe it's also an idea to be that kind to ourselves, even into adulthood, even though the world feels like there's a lot of pressure and you can compare yourself with millions of people through the internet, which makes it a little more difficult, you know? But just remember to be kind to yourself and remember that things just take time. So let's go on to the third point. It's also unrealistic to not make mistakes, you know? It's not realistic, and I don't even think that I have to explain a lot about that. Mistakes are a part of human life. The mistakes that you make also really do not define you. Maybe that's also a very important point. They do not define you as a person. Every day is a new day. You can always expand on your skills that you have. You can go into a completely different route, because, you know, when I was in high school, you don't want to know how many different things I tried there. My mom was very, she had this mindset of like my child needs to be able to explore a lot of the things. I went for a hairdresser, I went for mathematics, which I miserably failed at. I did not even finish the year. I went for a beauty a beauty worker, you know, like the one that does makeup and everything, works at maybe Sephora or something. I tried to do that. I tried to do, yeah, something with social things, but then again, the mathematics was a bit too difficult and everything. And actually, I did not even finish my high school, which is also not a failure. It's only feedback, because now I'm kind of finding my way through life without that degree, and I know I will get there. So, you know, like, I could see myself as a complete failure, but I don't let that define me. That degree that I don't have, I don't let it define me, because there's millions of other ways. And, you know, I feel like I'm really finding my place, even though I did not reach that goal or that degree, you know. And then the last point, I actually just want to really emphasize that the only failure that really exists, if you think about it, is if you don't try or if you just give up, you know. In certain cases, letting go and giving up on something is a good way to go, because sometimes things just don't fit with us. But don't let your fear of failure make you fail. You know, in the not trying, in the not doing, that's the only way to fail, you know. You do not really give yourself the permission to learn if everything needs to be perfect. And I'm also struggling with that sometimes, you know. I can be so angry if I make a drawing and it's not completely perfect the first time, and then I give up. Actually, I have this giving up attitude with drawing a lot. With drawing, it's always that I make a drawing that's not really good and then I quit and I'm like, I cannot draw. But of course, I know that I can draw. It's just that I don't make it a priority, you know. If you really want to succeed at something, you have to be willing to try again and again, time and time again, because that is how great things are made. You don't learn a language in like a split second. You need to talk to people for many, many months. You need to study as well. You really need to make it a part of your life, you know? So don't be thinking you're alone here. It's just that if you don't try, if you don't give yourself the opportunity, you will have sabotaged yourself, you know? So don't say you're a failure without trying. I hope this is maybe a bit relatable. And yeah, it's just things that I also really need to remind myself of, because when I got rejected from that job, I was not feeling good, you guys. I was feeling like I was a huge failure. But then again, I for some reason, I catch myself in the act of negative thinking always. And then I remember again, oh, of course. Of course, it's not that serious. And of course, there's only feedback. So I hope I could have given you some great insights on this, and I hope this can maybe serve as a little bit of a soothing video, you know, if you struggle with this kind of things. So yeah, that was my first video again after a very chaotic period. I really don't know how it's going to go further. The only thing that I know is that I have a little bit more time to be creative right now, because I have the privilege to kind of take a year for myself and everything and see how everything goes in that way. If you have any ideas of new videos that you want me to make, for example, I could talk about my solo travel to America as a female, completely alone, 24 years old. I could talk about that. I could talk about something completely different. It's up to you. If you want to see something, then just ask for it. And if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and maybe like this video and share it with a friend who might need it. Thank you so much for watching.